Hello, this is a study of the Summa Theologica by St. Thomas Aquinas. We're going to start by going to Article 3 from the second question, the existence of God. Let's listen to our audio, whether God exists.
Third article, whether God exists. Objection 1. It seems that God does not exist. Because if one of two contraries be infinite, the other would be altogether destroyed. But the word God means that he is infinite goodness. If therefore God existed, there would be no evil discoverable. But there is evil in the world. Therefore God does not exist. Objection 2. Further, it is superfluous to suppose that what can be accounted for by a few principles has been produced by many. But it seems that everything we see in the world can be accounted for by other principles, supposing God did not exist. For all natural things can be reduced to one principle, which is nature, and all voluntary things can be reduced to one principle, which is human reason or will. Therefore, there is no need to suppose God's existence. On the contrary, it is said, in the person of God, I am who am. I answer that the existence of God can be proved in 5 ways. The first and more manifest way is the argument from motion. It is certain and evident to our senses that in the world some things are in motion. Now, whatever is in motion is put in motion by another, for nothing can be in motion except it is in potentiality to that towards which it is in motion. Whereas a thing moves inasmuch as it is in act. For motion is nothing else than the reduction of something from potentiality to actuality. But nothing can be reduced from potentiality to actuality except by something in a state of actuality. Thus, that which is actually hot, as fire, makes wood, which is potentially hot, to be actually hot and thereby moves and changes it. Now, it is not possible that the same thing should be at once in actuality and potentiality in the same respect, but only in different respects. For what is actually hot cannot simultaneously be potentially hot, but it is simultaneously potentially cold. It is therefore impossible that, in the same respect and in the same way, a thing should be both mover and moved. That is, that it should move itself. Therefore, whatever is in motion must be put in motion by another. If that by which it is put in motion be itself put in motion, then this also must needs be put in motion by another, and that by another again. But this cannot go on to infinity, because then there would be no first mover and consequently no other mover, seeing that subsequent movers move only inasmuch as they are put in motion by the first mover, as the staff moves only because it is put in motion by the hand. Therefore, it is necessary to arrive at a first mover, put in motion by no other, and this everyone understands to be God.
In order to understand and to learn to move forward, we are going to focus on this paragraph. It seems that God does not exist, because if one or two contraries, be or is infinite, we could use both be or is in this case, the other would be altogether destroyed. But the word God means that he is infinite goodness. If therefore God existed, there would be no evil discoverable. But there is evil in the world. Therefore, God does not exist. Okay, Let's learn some English. Does and do never go in questions with be. Here we've got four examples. Does he study? Do they study? We see the auxiliary verb do working with the main verb study. In the next two questions, is he a student? Are they students? We see the verb be. So we repeat, remember, does and do never go in questions with be. Let's look at this chart of the simple present. We see the conjugations of do. The first column to the left, the do, the conjugations are grayed out. That's because we are studying do as an auxiliary verb, not as a main verb. In the second column, here we see the interrogative structure. Where you see the spaces, we have to use any verb, the main verb, in base form. Do I study? Do you work? Does he play? Does she study? Does it work? And to the right, we see the positive answer and the negative answers. Yes, I do. Yes, you do. Let me read the eight negative answers, short answers. No, I don't. No, you don't. No, he doesn't. No, she doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, we don't. No, you don't. No, they don't. And below we can see the conjugations of be, conjugations we already know, I hope. But if you don't worry, we will practice them in another lesson. Making questions in simple present with does. Does God exist? Does it seem? Does it mean? Does it seem that God exists? What does the word God mean? Notice, pay attention, that we always use the base form of the main verb in questions with does. Answering questions with does. Does God exist? Yes, he does. Does it seem? Yes, it does. Does it mean? Yes, it does. Does it seem that God exists? Yes, it seems that God exists. Here we can see a longer answer. And what does the word God mean? It means that He is infinite goodness. Notice that we use the third person form, seems and means, of the main verb to give long answers to questions with does. We have an exercise. I'm going to ask you to answer 10 questions. We've got them here. Please practice answering 5 questions, giving short answers. The 10 questions show does. Please give 5 answers, short answers to the first 5 questions, and give 5 long answers from question in order 6 to 10. But we've got 1 to 5 for the long answers. We can clearly see the exercise is asking us either for short or long answers. You can pause, please pause the video here so that you can answer your questions. And after, when you restart your video, you will see the answer key. You will see the appropriate answers for these 10 questions. Notice that from question 1 to 5, long answers, I give you some prompts. Do your best. Do your best effort to find the correct answer by using, remember, the main verb in the third person form. Move is going to change to moves. Give is going to change to gives. Say is going to change to says, and so on. Please do your best. Pause. Write your answers in a notebook. And I'll show you the correct answers in 5 seconds. These are the correct answers. 5 short answers from 1 to 5. And the second set of 5 questions, the long answers that are appropriate in this case. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. These exercises will help us to learn what St. Thomas Aquinas teaches in these very interesting articles that form questions that in turn form the majestic work of the Summa Theologica. See you in the next class.